We got 2.5 minutes. I'm grabbing a water. Why can't I hear you guys there? Dr. Drones. What? There's that timer reset we know. I know you got one too. Now I got one. What's the date on yours? Let's see here. Frankfurt recent event? Oh yeah. From the VIP event. To your event. Yep. Good. I'm specific to the event. Hold on. I got you. Uh-oh. I need all this extra stuff.
All right, it's time for that #1 Friday Night Super Space Bro Star Citizen show. You know what I'm talking about. And here's our first guest, Mr. Dr. Drones. And the amazing, stupendous Toy Grubbin. And then, of course, the man who hates our intro music, but he still shows up every Friday we need him, and we love him. Sergeant Pickles! And I don't know why your green screen still looks like that, but that's okay. We'll fix it. We'll fix it, brother. He does. He hates the intro music, chat. He hates the intro music, and I don't know why, so there you go. All right. He was trying to defend himself.
I'm going to disappear tonight, I see.
Oh, are you going to be the vanishing toy?
Yep, I'm the vanishing one tonight.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll get that worked out. I don't know why.
I'm a mime, apparently.
You're a mime?
I don't know. That's what Bravo said.
He's trapped in a box. But now it's not green. See, they can hear us now. It was just a thing. We worked it out. Anyway, welcome, guys. How's everybody doing this fine evening? Let's see, Mr. Drones hasn't been blown away yet.
just expecting a Category 4 hurricane. I mean, what can be wrong?
Absolutely.
I mean, so
don't worry. We were planning contingency plans. We were, having to like take vouchers and see if we have a replacement party in case you don't make it. but we still love you. So anyway,
Thank you.
So how is things down there right now? How's everything been going leading up to this emergency situation?
Believe it or not, I did not wait in line for gas for once. So everything's good. Like fully gassed up my car, got plenty of water, food stuff, got all my Anchor battery packs charged up, ready
no
to
rioting
go.
Yet or anything like that?
What's that?
No rioting or anything of that nature?
Not yet.
Oh, good.
Not yet, but
no looting.
No looting.
hadn't had to shoot anybody yet.
Oh, good. Well, that's always a good day.
Oh, so it's a garbage hurricane so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far.
It's always a good day when Drones doesn't have to use his AK. So it's perfect.
Today was a good day.
We all know he uses hand grenades anyway. Anyway, so
it's true.
It's a good deal. Everything else been going good with your week? Just busy with work and all that stuff, Drones?
Work and stream. I've been checking out this No Man's Sky Beyond patch. Kind of like it. Kind of impressed with what they did. I mean, there's some things still not perfect, but
yeah,
it's been fun.
Good. That's good. Mr. Toy, you've had an exciting time since you were last here.
Yes.
Yes. So he's our global traveler and all that jazz. So how was your trip?
The trip was awesome. Oh my God, I ate so much. I remember, the little Frankfurt weenie we had at that dinner. I finally got
the Oscar
the
Mayer
good sausages.
The Oscar Mayer hot dog. When we went to Frankfurt for CitizenCon, what's that been 2 years ago now? He wanted to get up there. He's like, oh, I want to try a sausage, first time in Germany, getting this whole thing going and all this stuff. And they're bringing out his food. I don't remember what I ordered. I ordered something fried. Anyway, and it was like an Oscar Mayer hot dog. Like literally looked like they took it out of the Oscar Mayer package, heated it up, and put it on his plate. And he looked at that thing with such disappointment in his eyes. I was just like, I couldn't help but laugh.
I had to go back. I had to.
Yeah, that was hilarious. So I was like, oh my God. I thought I was gonna
my
cry.
God, they had like a street fair down there along the river.
Okay.
While I was there.
Nice.
And it is like every tent was food. And what tents weren't food were like alcohol tents. Oh my God, it was so good.
Well, that's better than we were there. They had like a yard sale going on in Frankfurt when we were there. And then they had riot police for like whatever protest that was going on when we were there too. So it was a little different environment. It was still really fun, but it was a little different environment and all that stuff. So awesome. I'm glad you had a good time, man. You'll have to definitely share any anecdotes about anything that happened out there as we go on the show and stuff. Oh, I know you got the swag. Show it off. We're all jealous. Look at them. Scarves, stuffs, bags,
menus.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, stole the menu off the table.
Oh my God. Here we go. I know I missed out. But that's the way it goes sometimes. Better luck next year for me. Mr. Tickles.
Wasn't me.
How has your week been?
My week has been full of complete nerdery. I've been going to town on World of Warcraft Classic.
I saw you playing that. How are you enjoying it? How are you liking the rehash of WoW?
It's nostalgia, man. It just takes you 15 years ago, back when I was, well, hell, about 15.
Yep, Half-Life for real.
just takes a time machine, basically. It's fun. It's nostalgia.
Yeah.
It'll probably die off eventually. Not, completely, but
yeah.
For now, I'm taking every sip of the drink I can.
Yeah, but definitely the version you guys are playing is the best version, in my opinion, of WoW. Before it really got jinked up really bad.
Classic was fun. Honestly, having played vanilla, Burning Crusade was my favorite.
Yeah.
But
Burning Crusade was the last
right up there with it.
Yeah. I think I played from the vanilla version up to Burning Crusade. I didn't play the Witch King. My wife continued to play after that, but I was done at that point. Once they took out like the hunter dwarf with the pet bear I could have in there, I was kind of like, I'm out. So they started ruining pets and everything. I was like, kind of made me mad.
Yeah, things started changing a lot after BC, and that was the start of the downhill. But yeah, that's all I've been doing all week, man. Literally, I have this week off, and I've just been playing it. Not for that reason, but I just so happen to have this week off.
What's the queues been like for getting in there and everything? Everything been pretty.
The biggest queue I've experienced was like 600 people. So 5-10 minutes. Yeah, I picked a low population server on purpose.
That's smart. That's smart.
I saw some pictures of queues that were like fucking 90 days estimated wait time. It was just tens of thousands. And I mean, like upward almost 100,000 people.
I find that happens
in the queue
too, though. Whenever people make all these designs and plans before a launch of a game, and they're going to stick to them. They don't adapt. They're like, oh, we're going to this server and do this thing, and that's where we'll meet, no matter what happens. And they'll sit there and they'll set that queue for like 20 hours. And they don't even care. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, forget that. We're changing.
Because you could pre-make your tune, right? You could pre-make on a server, basically claim your name,
Yeah.
And we made them on like 4 different servers. Whatever one we can get into day one is the server we're sticking with.
Yep. That's a smart move, man. You can tell you're an experienced veteran. So
I ain't wasting time in no fucking lines.
I don't blame you. The older you get, the less time you want to waste in lines. You'll pay extra money to skip the line. You don't even care. You're like,
bingo.
No, you gotta do this
bingo.
stuff.
Disney started it, and they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Fast pass me on every game queue, please, and I will pay for it. I don't care. So, all right.
Oh God, I bet that's coming someday.
It'll be the next loot box fiasco. It's like, wait, I gotta pay to get into the game earlier, like legitimately earlier, not just early access. It'll be like early access fast pass. You'll pay like $300 for a pre-order game so you can get the fast pass, all the DLC, the early access, the beta aspect, the colored poster, the night vision goggles that don't actually work, all that stuff. So yeah. Absolutely. I'm waiting for it. And I'll be the sucker that buys the first one and then bitch about it for the next 5 years.
I'm still teasing people who bought like the super, like the $200 package for Anthem.
Oh, man. Yeah. I think, which was the last one that burnt me? I think the last game that got me really good on one of those huge collection editions was probably way back at Age of Conan. They got me because I bought a whole huge collector's bundle for me, and you got the cloth map, so you felt really into all stuff. And we got one for my wife too. So not only when I buy a game like that, I got to buy 2 of them. So it's like, it's like $200 a pop, $400 later, it's like, yeah, we got the full collection editions for everybody. Played the game for like 5 weeks, and it was broken as hell, and we both quit.
Yep.
You know, and
I remember when that came out. I feel the same way about the stream because I have to have 2 mics and 2 cameras, and I want to upgrade my camera, but I can't just upgrade my camera.
Yeah.
I have to upgrade her camera. So yeah, I know the struggle.
Yes. It's the way it is. My wife literally, she's playing, what is it? Life of Portia, I think it is, whatever game. That's the game she's currently playing, and she's literally playing it on one of my old gaming rigs that probably has like 32 gigs of RAM. You know, she's got a 1080 Ti card in it, and I'm like, none of this stuff is absolutely needed for what she's playing, but you know, it's just because, you know, well, you got it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, whatever.
Gotta have it.
So if you need to play like a web-based game at like, you know, 700 frames a second, then, you know, she's all good. Got to keep them wives happy. But I digress.
Happy wife, happy life.
Usually that's true.
Most times.
Yeah, most times.
Not all the time.
Not all the time. And
however, what is true is miserable wife, miserable life.
Absolutely, that's a guaranteed. So I'd rather roll the dice on like the possibility of happiness than just like go all in on the downside of everything. So you got to go that way. We'll have to avoid ever having our wives actually meet and playing games together. I think that could be a bad deal. Be a bad conspiracy.
My wife turns chat against me. Like the whole damn chat will be against me.
And that's what I'm worried about, because I've watched you guys, and I'm like, she would have my wife going, yeah. In a second, I'd be like, me and Tickles would be over on the side going, oh my god, what have we done? It's like it wouldn't be
the one time they were on my side was when she fucking stole my last bite of chicken.
Oh man.
That was the one time they've ever been on my side.
There's lots of things a wife can do, but when they take a man's food, that's where dudes draw the line. They could like take your car, they could take your wallet, they could take like all your stuff. But if like you're eating food actively and they take your food, it's like some weird line in the sand we draw. Like, what the hell? Like you're personally offended, you know?
I was eating like it was a chicken. You know, you always, I don't know about you guys, size it up. You're like, all right, that's going to be my last bite.
Yes, because that's the good looking one. That's the one you want to wrap it up. I get you.
And I set it down to do something. And she just like was like fucking yoink.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, chat wasn't having it.
Yeah. It's funny because the last time something like that happened, my kids actually my kids know. I've got them trained, you know. They don't mess with my food, they don't do all that stuff. Last time something like that happened, the kids all like gasp. Like when my wife kid like, oh, Mom, you shouldn't do that. So it's one of those things. Don't touch another man's fries either. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's like how to do it. It's like when you're dating, that's okay, but all that after you're married, you're like,
well, there's a lot of things that go both ways. That when you're dating, they happen, and then when you're married, they stop.
Oh my god, that we could do a whole show just on that. Anyway, let's go over. We'll start talking about some Star Citizenism, as we all like and love too. This week, it was interesting. I don't know how I really came off feeling about. I kind of want to talk about things backwards.
So start with the timeline that moved, and
yeah, I think so. So
there was a complete restructuring of
our lives
roadmap
now, because it's like my roadmap in my life seems synonymous in many ways.
Right.
But yeah, there's a complete restructuring of everything, but yet the dialogue we saw. Let's start with Pillar Talk, because it's itching my craw. What did you guys think of Pillar Talk?
I hated it. Like I said, I totally understand that maybe they bit off a little more than they could chew with this roadmap. You know, maybe they're a little too ambitious for getting as much stuff as they want to get out. I just hate the way they did it. You know, it's that round table where they're not looking us in the face and telling us, hey, things are going to slow way the fuck down. I hated that.
Yeah. I don't feel like they said things are going to slow down. I mean, they are, but I feel like they said that we can't keep this pace. Clearly, they've missed the last two by a lot. I mean, we were talking like, 3-4 weeks in some of them. So, yeah, I get it. I don't feel like they said that content's going to be slowing down. They said that they need to change the way that they're doing it and stretch it out. So instead of jamming a bunch of shit into a sack and making sure it's super full, fill the sack up 2/3 of the way and let it pour out slowly over 6 months. I guess is what I took from it. I did not like it though. I thought it was 10 minutes of we're changing how we're doing things. And that's all. That's all it was.
I feel like baited, to be honest, by the Pillar Talk thing. Because everybody gets excited about Pillar Talk, right? We all like, hey, Pillar Talk, okay, we might not get some deep insight, but we're at least going to see that back and forth. We're going to see that conversation about something that's relevant, something that's important to the game, and something that we can kind of, sink our teeth into. And really, it felt like anything discussed in the Pillar Talk could have just been a letter from the chairman and been done.
Yeah, it was 100% useless, I thought, because the first Pillar Talk was awesome.
Yeah,
I was like, fuck yeah, we're gonna look forward to these quarterly Pillar Talks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's even been people tweeting lately asking for more Pillar Talk, and now we've got one, and it's like, I don't want more Pillar Talk.
It away.
Wasn't the last one like 20 or 30 minutes of like a lot of nonstop content and information?
I think so.
It was. I think it was about 20
Something
minutes.
Like
but the thing is too, it doesn't even matter length. It could have been 5 minutes, could have been 8 minutes, but the substance of what they talked about wasn't what anybody wanted to hear. I mean, and people want to, and I think really, if you guys haven't got to see it, I love watching the Noobifier stuff. Yeah, but the Noobifier had a great little summary on it there where he kind of went over it, and basically he didn't have anything. He tries to stay positive, obviously, right? But
does he?
But he does it. He's got a little salt in his craw like all this. But these questions up here that popped up on him, I'm not playing audio, I just want to show these questions. These are the questions that I think he hit the nail on the head, where this is what we wanted to hear about. We wanted to hear about questions like, could you tell us about the status of, server-side OCS? What are the current blockers? How are we looking at that?
I can tell you that.
I know, but it's like, that's what we wanted to hear them discuss at a Pillar Talk. You know what I mean? We didn't want to hear like, oh yeah, we're over. We know you are. You have been overwhelmed the whole time. And the conclusion of the Pillar Talk was pretty much like, hey, so we're going to go and we're going to try to do these quarterly releases and do them right this time. I'm like, you're basically saying the same thing you did last CitizenCon. I mean, and I don't know. I'm not trying to get down on CIG about it, but at the same time, I don't understand at what point, like we're through 3/4 of the year. At what point did they figure out, hey, we're really behind on this. Maybe we should do what we said we were going to do last year. Because they haven't been doing that. They did it for the very first release, and everything else has been business as usual. It's literally like what happened last year, where things got pushed quite a bit. And they said, hey, this isn't the right way to do this. We want to do core releases. If something's not done, we'll move on. I feel like what's happened, though, is they've been up against the wall with, hey, we don't have any real content we're releasing in this patch, right? Like, if they didn't wait and push it, they deliver us what variably to somebody outside the project looks like almost nothing. So that's my opinion. I think like the same reason they're hanging on with the 362 and all these things, because it's like, well, we got to at least give them the 890 jump, on this, and say, well, we did it during that patch. But when you get to patches where there's subsequent like .2, .3, .4, all this stuff, I just feel like they're not really, they're kind of, muddy in the waters, I guess. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I've always felt like if you're having to make a .1, a .2, a .3, why are you not pushing that to the next quarter? Like, just straight up cut. It didn't make it.
And they should.
Like, why are we?
They literally should.
I mean, I'm sure there's some overlap, but like, I feel like we're spending development time on something that is already done and cut, right? Like, done and cut. Let's move on.
Well, and
they want more time
for
to
people
polish.
Who want that thing. There are people that want that thing, like the 890. There are people who want that, and it would suck to say, "Well, we're pushing that," but really, I feel like that's what they should. It's pushed
either way, though, isn't it? Isn't it really pushed either way? Because I mean, you're still waiting for it.
Yes.
It's all semantics because they're just like extending the build. If they just said, "Hey, this is 3.6, this is 3.6, or this is whatever.
But there's also an additional
3.7.
time investment in putting that .1, .2, .3 patch through the process of Evocati PTU to live, right?
Yep.
So like that, I feel like is sucking away time. That whereas if they pushed it to the next major patch, they're already planning a 3-month Evocati PTU and then live, right? Like so. They're redoing steps over and over. It seems like. Now I don't know.
Well,
I'm not
I
on the
don't
back
know that
end.
they're actually doing that. I think it's 100% marketing is the consideration in this, because I think they'd still have to do Evocati build with the 890, even if it was in 3.7, right? They'd still have to do all these things, but at least they would do what they said they were going to do. Hey, it's not ready. It goes to the next build, and then at least we'd have the perception of they did what they said. Now we have the semantics of not only is the stuff still pushed, you didn't do anything you said that you were going to do with the release schedule. And now you're saying, hey, we're going to do the release schedule. It just seems, it doesn't seem like they're being
not
true
only
to what they
that,
said.
the faster they get the 890 jump done and pushed out, because that's a ship team waiting to go build other ships.
Yeah.
Right? As soon as they're done with that, they need to get it out, get it polished, get it done so that ship team can stop focusing on the 890. Because let's say they lose a month then, right? They'd lose a month. So,
but see, they've already lost that. I mean, the 890 is out, but it's still not done. They need more time. I mean, they put it on the roadmap to have it done by a certain time, and they just couldn't match it. You know what I mean? They couldn't get it polished enough. I mean, if you go to the airlocks, they still don't have the little terminals there. There's a lot of stuff in the 890 jump that's just not done, and they just ran out of time. So they just, like I said, the roadmap is an ambitious thing, and if they could make it, it's great. But I think they just want to take a step back and not throw as much in. And I think they should do like kind of what they're doing with object container streaming. They don't even have it on the roadmap. And what they should do is take like right now we know refueling and salvaging is supposedly coming up. Don't put it on the roadmap until it's like 90% done, and then say, oh, then they put it on the roadmap. You know what I mean? And that gives them that extra couple months to get it polished, but it's almost done by the time it even hits the roadmap. They're putting stuff on the roadmap that they haven't even scheduled yet, and they don't know how long it's going to take them to do it. And a lot of this stuff has just ended up taking a lot more time than they expected.
Yeah. And I see chat saying, if they push people a bitch, if they don't, people, you're 100% right. All I'm saying,
a lose-lose.
It's a lose-lose scenario in that perspective. But all I'm saying is, I mean, we go to these citizen cons, we go to these events, they come up with a game plan. We all, drink the Kool-Aid and we're like, hey, I'm into this. This sounds great. Let's do that. I wish you were doing it from the beginning. There's nothing semantically that would change on when the 890 comes out, whether it was like 3.61, 3.62, or 3.7, because it would still take that long to get it done. All I'm saying is they should have dropped 3.6 and said, hey, the 890 is not going to be done until 3.7. That's just the way it is, because that's what they said they were going to do. And now we have a whole...
Totally on board with that.
Yeah, and then they have a whole separate episode that they show us of Pillar Talk, and in Pillar Talk, they're straight out going, oh, well, you know what we said last October when we went to CitizenCon, where we're going to do these patches and we're not going to let things push the patch. We're just going to drop the patch, go on the next. And if it doesn't make that one, we'll keep working on it for the next one. That's what we're going to do. They just wasted like 8 minutes of my life watching, basically saying, hey, that's what we should have been doing. And I'm like, so it took you a year to figure that out. It was a little frustrating to me because I didn't like the pillars on the thing at CitizenCon anyway. I didn't like that. I didn't like any of the explanation of it. I am one of those, I'm a faithful follower of Star Citizen. I don't care if it takes 15 years for it to get done. I just don't like it when they manipulate it down to like, oh, this is what we got, so we'll make it look like this is what we meant to do. I don't like that.
But see, they just done that with the brand new Defender. They knew they weren't going to have it done. They pushed it back. The 890 jump was this is the thing, is that everybody was expecting it. They didn't want to disappoint, so they tried to keep it in.
I know.
But it just wasn't ready.
It wasn't. And I feel like, okay, if you took that out of 3.6, what's that leave you with in this patch build? It's nothing shiny. You got stuff in there.
Yeah.
They've made progress with things. A hover mode that a lot of people hated, I think's fine.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it, but a lot of people hate it, right? If you go through it, the rest of the build is like little tweaks, stuff like that, degradation. They talk about misfires. They talk about player carryables. They talk about the law system. Other than them trying to deliver this, it was like the ballista came out as a surprise, and you're pretty much wrapped. That was all 3.6 was, and I feel like what happened internally was we gotta stretch this out. We gotta get the 890 out in this, but somehow between 3.6 and 3.7 to say, hey, look, we delivered the 890. And I think that was maybe a little bit of a mistake, because we're almost in 3.7 time now. I mean, when that should be going to Evocati in like a week and a half.
Something.
Is that wishful thinking there?
I don't know. I mean, those are the questions I think would have been better addressed and presented to there, like, hey, okay, we're doing it this way, blah, blah, blah. We're still planning on doing, 3.7 started this process. I feel like a lot of their development time's been wrapped up in trying to fix what they need to in 3.6. And so I don't know if they're going to be able to hit a 3.7 mark. You know what I mean? So we'll see. It's a big question.
They definitely shuffled the roadmap, so
they did. And we always feel like the end of the roadmaps are pretty heavy. Like it looks. I think beginning of this year they did okay with the way they had it structured. We'll go to the screen with the roadmap up here, but I think they did okay with the way they had it structured at the beginning of the year. Because it was fairly light build to build, and then they had it was really beefy at the end, but that's what they've had ever since they've had the roadmap up. But I think, again, it's I always say it's not really game development. It feels like more like an R&D project, because they're trying to create things that in ways that people haven't done before. And there's no way to pick valid project management time estimates on stuff when you're doing R&D. It's really hard. I mean, I don't know. I've never project managed an R&D project, but I imagine it just has to be like you either run out of whatever time the client's willing to do or the money, and they don't have a limit on either. So it'd be very hard to bring that into subsequent of whatever. I'd love to have a conversation with how they decide on that stuff, but yeah, it's challenging. So we're seeing a lot of things what are the major pushes that you guys have seen in the roadmap?
Shield's now in 4.0. The Shield tech that we've been waiting for forever.
Mm-hmm.
See, from the event I went to, their major concern with everything right now, of course, everything is Squadron 42, but it's with AI. They're worried about that. Is really the only thing they're worried about is AI stuff. Getting the AI, all this. If you look at all the roadmap stuff, there's a lot of AI stuff in there. That's what they're worried about, getting it up to snuff for Squadron 42.
It's 100% needed for Squadron 42, and it is relevant to the MMO, to be fair.
Yep.
But it's absolutely paramount for Squadron 42. You can't have a game without the AI working, because the way they've implemented
good AI.
Yeah, well, the way they've implemented AI is, as some people, everybody who's followed the project know, but a lot of people who haven't, they don't know. They didn't do it like normal single player games did, right? Like normal single player games, they'll make a character, a guy follows the path, he kind of has a routine, he does his little body, whatever he does, and it might look cool, he might react cool, all that stuff. They're trying to make almost like an autonomous figure that lives, breathes, and operates as an individual character in the universe, even in the single player game, which is pretty scary stuff overall, for how involved that has to be. I have no clue, but it's like just looking at the screens we saw from Tony Z at last CitizenCon, or even, previous presentations. If you look at his mind maps and stuff on the decision-making processes, like one AI could decide between 20 to 30 selections of how to react to one stimuli. It was incredible.
And not just that, you're having AI that go from flying a ship to landing on ground, getting out, and needing to understand first person, game mechanics for first person shooting. So get an AI to do that,
Absolutely.
with no like you said, with no natural pathing. I mean, they just basically have to, as they get to the area, that pathing, they have to learn the pathing.
Yeah.
So it's crazy what they're doing with the AI stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you'll never get a negative note for what their aspirations are from me. I want them to reach for the stars. I want them to try to make it as complicated or as robust as they can, so it's this universe that we can persist in for years, if not decades to come. But the one thing I will always hold them to is please do what you say. And that's why I get so hung up on the things like when they show these big presentations and stuff, and they have a plan, and then they get off plan, and then they kind of say, oh, well, you know, we had to change things up because of this. Okay. You should have saw that. I mean, this was a problem all the way from March, right? Like we saw this problem all the way from then. So
yeah,
it's something they should have addressed much earlier, in my opinion. But I know they didn't want to, I don't think they wanted to scare everybody for the, you know how skinny this content would look for the year if they had this roadmap in March instead of now towards the end of the year. And I think they're hoping a lot of that would be mitigated marketing wise because of CitizenCon and some of the other events coming up, and people are supposed to get excited about that stuff. So maybe they feel safer about showing where they're at with things as far as release schedules. I don't know, but I don't feel like this is like news to them, like they're this far behind or anything. I just don't. And so I thought it was really awkward from the dress in the pillar talk. But that's all my salt about it. That's it for right now.
I mean, I pretty much feel the same, so it's not.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna bog everything down saying the same thing you just said.
Yeah, there's no reason to. No reason to. All right. So more on a other note there. They did show a little bit more on Star Citizen Live about modular space stations.
I haven't had a chance to watch this yet.
I was able to skim through it, and it's some of the information was similar, but I am very impressed with the amount of depth and how they're making these look. I have to keep saying that, and I hate to be the guy every day. It's like, you know, oh, it looks so good, but it literally looks so good. I don't know what else to say about it. They make this stuff look so amazing. And they've taken the time to implement the tools and the sets in order to make variable, you know, environments, all these different things that are going to be just epic sandboxes to play in. And I'm really impressed with it. Because this type of stuff they showed during this, and I just kind of skimmed through it, looks so much different than what we saw maybe 6 months ago to me. So much more polished. It shows how he can just build, like, it snaps together and all this stuff. The only thing that scares me about this, and I don't know how you guys feel about it, is the fact they keep showing like, oh, look, we just snapped this here and there. I think people are going to have expectations like, well, shit, you should be cranking out like 7 space stations a month. Because like you can just snap this shit together and all that. Which is
that's one way to look at it. The other way I was looking at it was like, oh, you have really cool build tools. I like building bases. Why can't we play with build tools? Why can't we build our own bases? Because that's fun. But, I don't know. I've never seen. You know, I look at it this way. They've got all the Snap 2 stuff. They've got everything that like will just pop in with basic searches. Like, wouldn't it be cool to like have our own like place? You know,
I think we will be able to, but not with the tools they're showing over there.
No,
I think they're going to have
no for
items
sure,
you can snap in.
Yeah,
you know,
that's not user friendly. But it was just the first thought was, gee, I'd love to play with stuff like that as a player. You know, like
Well, they did address a little bit of that when we started way back when, right? When they were talking about land claims, when they were talking about different things with the, what am I thinking of? The ship that makes the land pieces.
With the Pioneer and stuff?
Yeah, the Pioneer. Where we will have some sort of interface where we can kind of shape our environment in that aspect when we're doing those things. But yeah, you're not gonna have the full on dev kit tools going in there and like molding the pipes.
I learned something that I didn't know as far as some new tech stuff. The Asteroids version 2 type of thing, the asteroids themselves are voxelized. You know how like where you can actually dent the terrain and stuff. Of course, we can't do it on planets and stuff because it's just like a skin. But they're adding that kind of tech. I mean, hopefully one day they'll be able to add that to planets. That would be awesome. But really looking forward to that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everybody's dream is to have planets that we could actually change the shape of and do all that. That's a huge undertaking considering the scale of this game. But yeah, it would.
But they have to when you think about it, because look, you're going to be flying the Hercules, which is on the roadmap for 4.0, by the way. I don't know if you guys noticed that. When you drop a bomb, a size 10 bomb from a Hercules, with the current terrain on planets, what are you going to do? I mean, what's it going to do? That thing should be making a crater in the planet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, craters are trademarked by the few. I don't know if they can do that.
Yeah, imagine when he crashes as a javelin.
Oh my God.
It'll be glorious.
It'll be crazy, that's for sure. The thing about the environment stuff, I don't want it to turn into like a planeticide explosion, right? Where like if something blows up big in PlanetSide 2 or something like that, it's like it just kills people, but the environment doesn't change at all.
Right.
But I also don't see it being as voxel based as we want, where it's like a beautiful hollowed out crater that's always there because you can say, hey, that's where a few crashed his Jav and, there's a wreck there permanently. I don't think they'll ever get to that point either. I think it'll be somewhere in the middle of that, I hope. But it's probably going to lean more to just impacting the scene temporarily. But yeah, that it is cool that they're having those things in there. But
EverQuest Landmark had that where it was a voxelized terrain, but it like healed itself after a certain amount of time.
Gotcha. God, how long do you think it'd take them to go back and redo everything in voxel?
That's something that's in No Man's Sky right now. Is like if you hollow out a cave and like build shit in there, the stuff you built will stay. Yeah. But over time, the planet heals itself. Like that stuff fills back in. So it's not like
that's
you had
also
a
much
impact,
smaller universe game as far as players, right? Like that you can only multiplayer. Was it 32 people or something in that nature?
It's like 4 on a team, but 32 in an instance. It's really odd the way they did it, but it works for the game. It works for what it is.
We are just gonna look around.
Look away and start talking.
Sorry, my son came in real quick.
Oh, I just wasn't sure.
No, I had to go.
Everyone got quiet and everyone's looking around. I'm like,
I see Mid talking to somebody off the side of his stream. I figured it was Bobby.
Yeah, it's Bobby. He's like, comes in, he's like, something's wrong. I'm like, well, could you be more descriptive than something's wrong? Like this could range anywhere from house fire.
The taxes are too high.
Yeah, house fire to like his shoelaces won't come in time. I have no idea, and it's like, so he's coordinating with my wife now. Apparently he might have a small headache or something. It's like I don't know what something's wrong. It's a big broad
that sounds
statements.
like a young child. Yeah, that's
my son. Anywho's, yes, definitely. So there's still a lot of cool stuff in this roadmap. I don't want to say, hey, it's like, oh, you're not going to get anything this year. There's still some cool things. I think they are taking a more, I don't know how to put it, I guess a more realistic tack, but it's hard for us on the outside to gauge that. Do you guys feel like they're skinnying it up to where they need to be? Is there any way we can tell, I guess is the question, right?
Like I said, I think it's needed. I'd rather have the way they presented it.
Yeah, skinny it up a little and release stuff on time. We're still waiting for that. Last year wasn't horrible, actually. When they first introduced it, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. 3.3 was a little late. But they were putting in something big that they hadn't really done before, right?
Well, and they hadn't made that commitment.
We let it slip.
Yeah, they hadn't made that commitment to say, okay, we're going to deliver in quarter releases. They did that, right, whenever we went to Pillar Talk at CitizenCon. That's when they said, okay, Chris came on stage, we're going to do this in quarter releases, like hell or high water, If it's not ready, then it just moves on to the next patch, right? And then we went into this year, and that's where kind of like what happened with that. The first release dropped right about time, and then after that, it was just kind of like, I don't know,
it went downhill fast, yeah,
real quick. So, you know, and the other thing is, and I won't harp on it, with the original CitizenCon pillar talk from last year, I felt like the pillars that he developed for like how it was basically pillars for the roadmap for how he felt the game would be from where it was now to what it would classify as a ready to release type state or ready to beta state.
Right.
And I feel like that was very, I don't know, from his perspective, like, you know what I mean? It's like, that's his judgment of where it was. But I felt like it was so off course on what I would think a release game would be. It was like insane. It was insane to me.
I gotta agree with what Genetonic said, and this is the way I've been looking at it too. They tried, and now they're adjusting. I get it, right? You can only adjust from what you already know.
They can readjust. Like that is one thing I like about this company is they reassess how they do things at least once a year. And make adjustments to that.
Yeah, you have to. Like I said, my concern was more like how he judged what the release date of the game would be. And they didn't talk at that point about professions. I hope this CitizenCon's different. And even though I'm not going, I'm definitely going to watch that. Are they going to talk about like on this, you know, redefined roadmap or anything like that? If they address that even. I want to hear about professions like in the timeline for release of the game. Like, okay, we're going to make sure we address these and stuff. I don't feel like you could go the pillar set he goes and anyone would be happy with a release date or a beta state of the game if it only met the classifications of what he said during the last.
I agree. There was nothing about like, oh, hey, we're going to have 5 systems at release.
Nothing.
Or, oh, we're going to have this. Or, it was like, oh, we need server-side OCS and we need blah blah blah, we need blah blah blah, and yeah, I was like, oh, that's it, huh?
Yep.
Well, I was a bit shocked because I learned during this VIP event that the server meshing, as we know it, won't be done, and this is just the initial server meshing until the end of 2020, and that's static server meshing.
Yep.
So that's not even dynamic server meshing. So, and that's like a whole other extra year away from when we thought, you know, because I thought it was be coming fairly soon online after server-side object container streaming was in, but no, we're looking at least another year away before that goes in.
And I think a lot of that too, Toy, is because they can't really address server meshing until they get the other, you know, the other tool set fully in.
Sure.
And so the longer server-side OCS takes to really evolve to the state where they're ready for that, the longer it's going to push back the next thing, right? Because that's something I don't think they can work at in parallel. And a lot of people don't get that aspect because they're sitting there saying, you know, hey, we're working on this and we're working on this. That's great, but there's no way I feel like they could do, okay, we're going to mesh the servers together until they actually get the server-side OCS in to know like what load states or anything they're at. You know, with the culling of systems and stuff on the server side, that they don't know what that even looks like. How could you sit there and say, okay, now we're going to mesh this stuff? And they're not going to be able to. And that's what they're saying. And I think a lot of people might have had the impression that they could, you know, do these things at the same time. And maybe aspects they can, but there's no way they're going to be able to implement them like one right after another, I don't think. I think it's going to take.
But they're going to have server-side object container streaming done by 3.8. Yeah. As long as it doesn't get pushed out, because we're getting
have it done by 3.8.
They have to. Microtech and the whole C, it has to be in.
Yep.
Otherwise, all that stuff has to get pushed.
Yep. Yeah, because we're at a tech cap, right? Like where we are, there's nothing else they can do or add really to the universe until they address that aspect. And then the next level will be, hey, we can't really add players or we can't really add other things till they address the next aspect, right? That's just how it goes. You're going to hit...
Kirby.
Right. You're going to have technological roadblocks. So, and that's where they're at right now, trying to mitigate those.
Yeah, I mean, Chris said there were something like 500,000 entities right now He says they could absolutely add more people to a server right now, but the problem is every time you pull out a ship, each ship has, so many entities in it, especially with the components, the 890 jump with every little like wine glass and crap like that you see on a ship, that's an extra entity added to the server. And so, yeah, they're at the limit now that, 50 is a comfortable number for them, where you could have 50 players in with their 50 ships and the server still runs, relatively okay.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, until they get that server side object container streaming in, they just can't, they'll bump it up a little more when they get that in. And then, of course, once server meshing in, then they can bump it up more and more. And then once they get dynamic server meshing in, where they just bring up extra servers depending on how many people are in an area, that's when we start getting our huge numbers.
Absolutely. And, it'll all come in time, but it's going to take a while. And I'm fine with them taking a while. I really hope, with them stretching out the schedule, that they get away from, and I agree with Black in chat where he says someone high up's probably been pressuring them to jam extra stuff in the patches. And I feel like part of that, it might be a Chris thing. It might be a marketing department thing saying, hey, we got to deliver. If you want to make more sales, we got to give them something, this. And I don't know, but I just want CIG to know that, most of us are willing to wait. We're not going anywhere. We might play some other games and stuff. We don't want you guys to shove stuff in that makes it harder for you to come back around later on and fix.
For every douche canoe that goes, fuck this game and fuck, I'm out, I'm never coming back, there's 1,000 people who aren't, you know what I mean? So absolutely. It's like, sure.
Yeah, and
see, the other thing you got to consider too with Squadron 42 coming out at the end of next year, they absolutely understand that with all that eyes on Squadron 42, after they're done playing Squadron 42, they want them to transition right back into the PU. So we're going to see a big push of PU stuff before Squadron 42 is released. So that they can keep those people around.
Year, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Beta
next year,
supposedly July-ish of next year. Sorry, when I'm doing this, there's like a gnat like all up in my business.
Yeah.
But so because the idea, right, was for you to flow directly and linearly from Squadron 42 into the world, right?
Yeah, it was like the intro.
But that's after the third chapter of Squadron 42. Chapter 42 will be broken up into 3 different parts. This is just the very first part of it. So it's set a few years before where we're at in the persistent universe now. And what'll happen is over the course of the Squadron 42 trilogy or whatever they want to call it, at the very end of it, then it dumps you into the PU at the current time.
Yep. Absolutely. But I think that, again, one will play in the other, just like we've seen the tech. Once they have the AI online, think how dynamically that's going to change the MMO side of things, right? They have to hammer this out for Squadron 42, but having actual functional AI that actually works well enough to run in the single player game should make the environments of the actual MMO, the PU, feel so much different than what it does today. Right? Just same way when we first got people just walking around inside the space stations, inside those, different things. Because I remember when we didn't have any of that. It was just like empty hollow and 2.0 and all that. Everybody was like, we're just, it was fun, but it was like that. The minute they put people in, even though they were on rails, even though they were just kind of walking around, it felt so much better. It felt like, hey, it's not a desolate wasteland.
10 or 15 of them standing inside of each other.
Yeah. It was still better. I mean, it was a huge, it was better to see an NPC that wasn't in a ship, just wired to it. So I was happy with that.
Are we going to have to wait another 2 years for chapter 2? I mean, they're going to have a lot of the stuff made to make the next one, but that doesn't mean they're going to have all the mocap and all the, all the voiceovers and
they don't want to bring like, all these big names back over and over again. I'm sure they've done all the mocap for the big stars already for all 3 chapters. I mean, they had the script to start with, so why not shoot it all at once? You know what I mean?
Yeah, if they already have the script, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They already had the scripts from day one. I mean, it's like this thick. So I'm sure they've already done all that. I mean, of course, they'll have to do some touch-up mocaps, I'm sure, here and there. But they already have the big stars mocap done, I'm sure. But
we'll see.
The thing is, though, is it's still going to take quite a while. Gamers Cafe is right; they have most of the core engine stuff done, but they have to create all new missions, and of course, add any new tech that they got going, and add different type of stuff. Like, Squadron 42 is going to be pretty much of us going out in space and doing space battle stuff, but maybe the second part of Squadron 42 will be ground combat stuff. You got to think that they will get us into different type of game mechanics that we're not having in the first, different game mechanics for Chapter 2 than we have in Chapter 1.
As long as the third chapter doesn't turn into an RTS or something, it's like, we did space, we've done ground, now we'll do Halo Wars, where it's like a terrible ground campaign that nobody wants to play. It's like, it's like, we can break out in all kinds of IPs. That's what happened to EVE Online. EVE Online tried to make like all these other IPs, most of which failed. They had to sell off and then eventually sold the company, right? Where the game's still going, but like they made a friend. They were trying to make all these different aspects of it, and they couldn't do anything else to the engine because they were locked into where they were, right? So, I mean, I think they're really trying to, future-proof the game with the engine. But they're also trying to make sure they're at a point where they develop in the correct way, where they don't pigeonhole themselves, right? They're not stuck, and it's like, that's all we got. And new tech comes out, and they can't implement that into the game engine or the system, which is hard to do. I mean, I don't know any game that's successfully done that.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, they may be one of the first, because like you were talking about adding voxel planets. I mean, can you think of a game that didn't start out with voxel planets that goes, hey, we'll just add in voxel planets now? I haven't. Like,
no,
that's a core engine thing.
I also wonder if some of the assets from Squadron 42, the planets, the cloud text that they're working on for all that crap, I mean, that should roll right on over, give or take, maybe some programming changes,
wouldn't you think?
For online and shit like that. But
I think once Squadron 42 is out and playable, that will become, like some of those areas become part of the universe. Why wouldn't it? Like right then, because they're holding it back.
Yeah.
They're holding it back for you to play the single player, but how cool would that be? Play the single player, and then it's like you come in, these are the environments that you're in. You can continue your story there. That's pretty cool to me. I hope they do that.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, the second or maybe third, right? Because I would imagine they're going to have a complete system done for Squadron 42. And then they could literally just go, boop.
That'd be cool.
I mean, eventually we'll get all that stuff in the PU. We have to. I mean, the coil is still going to be around, so we'll get that. So,
yeah, the question is how they implement that though too, because it's like they might have that environment, but you have to travel to each of these spaces on a map that exists inside the MMO. In Squadron 42, they could kind of not cutscene it, but you know what I mean? Like you're operating in this area, and then the story goes to the next chapter of it, and you're operating in this area instead of those of the Spire or wherever, So
does anyone know where Squadron 42 is supposed to like be based out of? What system?
I don't even know where the Spire is, to be honest. I'm sure somebody in chat does. Chat's so smart. You guys know.
That's what I'm at. If anyone knows where it's based out of.
Yeah, I can't remember where the coil. The Pyro and Odin is what Mad's saying.
Okay.
Odin, Togar said.
There you go.
Here we go.
Go with those guys. They always know more than I do anyway.
Well, isn't Pyro supposed to be supposedly one of the next systems we get?
I heard it's going to be one of the easiest systems to make too, right? Because there's just like one thing in it that's already made, one asset or whatever.
Nyx and Pyro. Yeah, okay, that's what I'd heard.
There you go. Yeah, because right now in the MMO, we still have kind of a cross section of stuff that is in Crusader area and is not, and then they're supposed to add and remove and do different things as we actually have the full universe in there. So that's the whole thing. And speaking of which, chat, if you do have questions for the cast, it's !questions, that's plural, and then it takes you over to our forum over there, and we will be spending the second half of the show here, answering your questions, whether it's related to topics that we're currently talking about, anything you just want us to discuss regarding Star Citizen or Squadron 42, anything related to CIG and all that stuff. Yeah, and we'll handle that. We'll do that thing.
We'll do it.
We'll do it. We'll do it to it. Anything else you guys want to add from this week that you wanted to discuss? I know we could dig into the roadmap for hours. That's why I didn't really.
I mean, wasn't there some shitty new ship come out or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Something like that.
I think there was something about a ship.
I think there was some
said
new
shitty
merch.
ship and toy disappeared.
There might have been something out there. I don't know. I think somebody said it was like a taco truck.
I saw some new merch, and then I saw a tweet. Then I saw a tweet causing artificial scarcity for merchandise, saying that they needed to sell the challenge coins and get them off the site so they could add more. Like,
yeah, you can't add
I found out lots of good info.
You can't add things to the website because you have something there.
I found lots of good info out at this VIP event. If I keep my camera steady. What the hell is going on?
First,
are you having
getting the merch I just ordered,
an earthquake out there in Vegas?
The next VIP event.
So they're revamping the store. We've heard that for, I've heard rumors of it for a while, but they're revamping the store. So we're going to get a bunch of new, merchandise in finally. That'll be nice. It's not the cam. I don't know what it is, but it's always one of us that happens to.
It's
but
the throughput.
other
I don't know
good
why.
thing that I learned about that maybe you guys weren't aware of is I've been bitching about this for years is gift cards. Gift cards never work as cash, right?
Yeah.
They're going to fix it. Gift cards will start working as cash finally. So that is huge.
True? Is that really true though?
That is absolutely true. I got it from the horse's mouth at that VIP event.
Right.
Which horse?
The guy in charge of that stuff. I can never remember his name, but he's the Legatus guy, the one that gave you your coin, man.
Oh, the Legatus guy. I trust him.
So
Man actually, he actually tracked me down and was like, "Hey, you need one of these." It's like, oh, okay. So that was cool.
But he basically said when they built the website, basically they built it backwards or whatever, and they didn't build that functionality into it. But it's something they're currently fixing and should come out with this revamp of the store.
Okay, get down with that.
Hey, I'm not Legatus. I'm a lowly wing commander.
The only reason I am is because I've been back in this game so long, and we've given away so many prizes that raised my spending level up that high.
That's the only reason I'm a wing commander.
Yeah, exactly. I don't own that level of ships. No way.
Not even close.
Not even ballpark. They're like, oh my gosh, you must have like 3 javelins, and no. I'm like, no, we've given away a lot of stuff. Trust me, my CPA still goes like, so let me get this straight. You actually processed in like $20,000 and you gave away $22,000. I'm like, yeah, we gave away $22,000 in a year to Star Citizen.
Welcome to streamer life.
Well, welcome to Star Citizen streamer life, because I haven't seen their game where that happens at all. But I don't mind, man. You're hooking up people with cool stuff, dude. Cool stuff.
I love the ship.
All right, here we go. Here's the super secret taco truck that they're talking about. It delivers tacos throughout the universe.
Kind of looks like a what is it? One of the Republic Star Destroyers.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think somebody there is whispering in the ears of the designers going, these guys really dig on Star Wars. And I'm like, because everything, even like I haven't been an anti-890 jump guy like forever. And then the 890 comes out and I get that profile look at it and it looks like a damn Star Destroyer coming over the top. And
It's
I'm
pretty
just like,
sick, isn't it?
It is awesome as hell. And I'm like, I hate that you make me like this ship. I
have
a few converts in my channel as well.
Oh my god.
I hated the 890 jump. Every little clip they'd shown up till it got in the game, I hated it. Went in the game and spent a couple hours in it, and I have to admit, I like the 890 jump.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy one, but
I'll get one
I
in
do
game.
like it. They did a good job.
In game, but I can't cash that type.
They did
I
an
got
amazing
one
job
back in the
on it.
day when they were a concept.
Yeah.
I said I want one of those. And of course, I didn't even stream then, but people I did talk to about Star Citizen were like, "Why the fuck would you want one of those?"
Yeah,
dude, why not? It's cool.
Now it's badass.
It's cool.
Well, and then they changed the whole back end of
melt it, and I get $600 worth of other ships.
Yeah. So, but this looks like another ship that's very role based, where it has a specific role, but it's definitely a role that I remember talking to. I don't think it was John Crew, but it was somebody when we were at CitizenCon down in Austin, and I was like, I'd love it if you guys actually did mines. And I was just saying it to be saying it because we talked about it. We had a whole stint in EVE Online where we did mines and all that stuff. And they all kind of looked at me sideways about it. And they said, well, we'll see. Whatever. I guarantee they're like knew about this thing already.
That was on the drawing board.
Yeah. They're like, oh, yeah, he's going to like this. I think
what you're actually doing is you're claiming that it was your idea.
No. Yeah.
I put the bug in John Cruz's ear. That's all.
There's no original ideas emanating from Mitachi and spaceships. I guarantee that. It's already been done. But they do it awesomely. I think it's a really cool ship. I think it's a ship that there's no way I will probably be able to get without melting a ton of crap to get. And it's probably so far out in the game before the game mechanics or gameplay associated with this, it wouldn't be good for me in my financial position to get one. But I think it's going to be badass.
I love it.
Yeah.
I loved it from the second I saw it because, I have the Hercules, which is the atmospheric bomber.
Mm-hmm.
This is our space bomber here, and it's designed to fight not small ships, but big capital type ships. The size 7 guns off the front, and those, they say they're equivalent to size 5 mines or, size 5 torpedoes, for the mines. It's designed to fight Krakens, Polarises, Idrises, those types of ships,
and protect those ships.
So this is the thing that I think is going to make its worth, weight in gold here, is using it for defensive purposes. They said, of course, in the future we'll be able to control space stations and our stinking big huge other ships and stuff that we're going to use for our floating bases or whatever. Wrap these things in mines to protect them. Absolutely perfect. Our Endeavors, wrap them in a bunch of mines so people just can't come over and harass our Endeavor while we're using it as a science platform somewhere. It's a perfect role for that.
And it has a basis of two types of actual mines, I guess you'd call them, and one retriever drone. So it's not used not only to arm areas with the homing mines or the sentry mines or any of those natures, but it also has a retrieval unit that's supposed to de-arm mines and demine areas. So it not only can lay mines, it can disarm areas of mines with these, which I think would be hilarious. Imagine having a drinking game of disarming mines, it's making sure you don't blow your drones up. We got this, no problem, guys.
So
I think you just developed the only reason for me to purchase one of those.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, we'd have some fun.
The thing to disarm them is actually just a drone.
Yeah.
It's almost identical to the rest of the drones. What they said, they said it comes with one, but I was questioning them about it. They're going to change it. There's going to have at least 2, because one of the gameplay features they're out into this thing is you will be able to hack other people's mines, like you just mentioned, to disarm them. And steal their mines and make them your own mines. And sometimes those mines are going to blow up if you fail the mini game.
Yes.
And if they only have one drone on this thing, it's going to be a long trip back just to get a brand new drone.
A new drone
to replace it if it pops. So it'll come with 2, I'm sure.
So it's just going to be like a bald dude with a big nose that we're controlling out there.
Exactly.
They'll make it some kind of mini game.
Yep.
None but love.
No, it's definitely a ship I'd love to have in my fleet. I would love to.
I would like it. I will give it that. It looks menacing and badass.
Yep.
It's not a gameplay type for me though.
Yeah.
I don't want one, but I want one in my fleets when I take big ships out. I hope that makes sense. I want somebody else to do that role, but I want that role filled.
Not only taking out big ships, I think with the sentry drones, And right here you can see $675 for it in the accessories. I love this mouse pad. I have to say it in passing. The Capital mouse pad is so dope. I want it, but I also
that is the primary reason that even though they were sold out, I had to get the pack. I was like, son of a bitch. So now I've got the shirt and the posters and the stuff I don't care about. But I wanted that. Yeah. You know, I needed a Javelin mouse pad. That's
but the Sentry Mine, I think for Area of Denial will be amazing against fighters and stuff. Because one of the things with the homing mines, I think, like you said, they're going to be mainly targeting big ships. But I think small ships be outrun them. Just like small ships can outrun torpedo, right? Like you fire a torpedo.
It should be able to.
Yeah. But these would actually,
not yet, but
these would be able to tear stuff up for small ships with their guns.
The problem with the guns is they're only size 2s. I mean, there's 2 of them, but they're size 2s.
Well, I mean, as Twitter has told us recently, you just put a couple of attritions on there, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did supposedly fixed.
Well, they nerfed them now.
In PTU.
Yeah.
Did they? Oh, I totally missed that.
Yep.
They nerfed him in PTU.
Yeah. They never responded to my
fix.
They never responded to my desire to have attritions for like FPS weapons. So that way I could use it for that. Because
just running around with a giant.
There you go. No, but I think it's one of these things, Toy, you'll deal with would be, even though they're size 2s, you're talking about death by 1,000 paper cuts, right?
Sure.
Because you fit a fire through there and you got 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. It's like you got almost 14 guns firing at you. You're gonna get ripped to shreds. And I bet they're hard to target too, because they're so small. It's not like targeting a ship where it's like you have a bigger profile to be able to hit them.
You'd have to send out your now conversely, there's gonna have to be like mine sweepers other than the drones from this big son of a bitch.
Yep. Well, I wonder, my other question that I wanted to see, like Q&A wise, was would EMPs affect these? Like if I bring
Absolutely.
Yes.
They said yeah. They did say yes.
Temporarily.
Might be long enough to get a small fighter group through a minefield, though. You know, if you come in, you blanket them, make a nice little hole in the sentry guns, and then move on that way. I think that would be cool.
I just can't wait till we get these in the PU and just reenact the Galaxy Quest, you know, where we're dragging mines to other ships, right?
Yeah, there you go. The ultimate kamikaze, where you just have a bunch of mines following you. So not only do you hit the vessel, you bring every mine from their minefield at them. It'd be perfect. Now, I really do want this ship, but again, it's one of those things when you start dropping money, when you get to 700-800, I start to think, well, I'm not the guy who has like an Idris already or anything. When I get to that, I'm like, well, I could just, you know, melt something else and melt this and then get an Idris instead, or, you know, or have that big ship that I want. But these really interest me. I feel like this is a good companionship for like the Polaris and the Hammerhead. That's an amazing little cruiser group there you got of these things, you know, if you had
a couple of Hammerheads, 1 or 2 of those around Javelin, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It's a perfect escort.
That is what I meant by I want somebody to fill that role, but I want to be on the Javelin. So I'll be on my Javelin. Just need somebody to fly that thing with me, and a couple of Hammerheads, a couple of Polarises. We good.
I wonder if we could put spider legs on the Sentry ones and then make them like Imperial droids. Like, can I bring them down on the planet and put spider legs on this, and they walk around with size 2 guns? And
don't think so.
That'd be so cool. I still want to be able to drop probes on surfaces from space. I want some sort of orbital like drop thing, not just orbital bombardment.
You want orbital bombardments.
I do want orbital bombardments, but I also still want drop pods. Like where you can load dudes up in a cruiser, ejective, and you just fall.
Halo or something.
Yeah, like Halo. Or people to play EVE Online, Dust 514 stuff, all those things. I want the drop pod.
I thought that was just, you know, bring a Javelin and let the few pilot it, and we're good.
I think you're more survivable in the drop pod than the few bringing the Javelin. You're bringing it a little hot.
Speaking of drop pods, I was finally excited to see a ship that had the 890 Jump has that escape pod that uses the Argo Cargo's like little seats. That is awesome. Finally.
Escape lifeboat.
Yep. Lifeboats.
Yep. Yes. So an empty Argo could just come right over, pick it up, and boom. grab it, and there you go.
Yeah, and not just for escape. I mean, you could use that as an actual transport vehicle, is my understanding, where you could go pick up like people and bring them to the ship. I think it's.
I don't know.
I don't know. I want to know. I need more information. Can I use it to like deploy guests down and bring people up, and it just have to have an Argo? So if you come up and there's a little space station with Argo, you can just bring them down. It'd be badass.
That would be very cool.
Yep. Of course, then you can bring.
Have to agree. But
890
then you got to have.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you just keep an Argo in your bay of the 890
You
then?
could.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense. Yeah. You could probably keep a couple.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that bay is
Pod,
huge.
have someone go, because you could use that as part of your escape method. It don't even have to be for getting around. Have
Yep.
one guy ready to go, and you're playing basketball. All of a
Yep.
sudden, the fucking lights go red, and time to launch the
you
Argo.
burn out there. Everybody else is getting out in the shuttles, and you can go ahead and have them come off the ship, and you can just pick them up in space and then motor them around.
Yes, sir.
That's a pretty good idea. Look at the big brain on Sergeant Tickles. Smart man. All right, let's see if we got any of these beautiful questions. And while we're looking at our question sheet, if we have anything there, well, it looks like we got a little bit. Let's find out what all you guys are doing for the rest of the weekend, where you're going to be streaming at, where you're going to be salvaging your homes and boarding up your windows, sandbags, all that stuff, whatever you're doing. So we'll start with Mr. Toy Grubbin. What's the rest of your weekend look like? What are you going to be streaming? What's going on?
I'm streaming just about every night now, and I'm planning on streaming after the show tonight too.
Okay.
So
Sounds good.
that's it. Just staying busy, streaming every night, having fun.
Cool.
I normally start the streams with Star Marine, and we do a few rounds of that before we get into, watching videos or doing anything else. So that's been really fun.
Nice. How about you, Mr. Drones?
I have no idea what this weekend holds for me. I am at the mercy of the weather. Now, I'll tell you a funny story, probably give you a good laugh. My boss, who may or may not be somewhat delusional, believes that I'm going to be on a flight Tuesday morning from Fort Lauderdale to New York.
In a hurricane?
I don't see that happening. But
Does your boss know what hurricanes are?
Yes.
You probably have better luck trying to parasail there. Like, just get some wind currents and go right up.
Here's a tarp. Just go.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, sure, whatever. But, realistically, we're expecting this storm either sometime between Sunday and Tuesday, depending on whether it speeds up or slows down. So it's just, I don't know. Normally I'd be on Sunday, but
see what happens.
It's hit and miss. Yeah, it depends on the weather, internet, and power.
Right on.
Well, I wish you the best of luck through the hurricane.
Absolutely. Be
Thank
safe.
you.
I also think that it's dumb to live in a place that hurricanes strike regularly, but nonetheless, I wish you the best of luck.
You have never been to a hurricane party, have you?
No, I've never been to a hurricane.
Oh, you are missing out. There's nothing worse than terrible weather, no power, and lots of booze.
Oh,
I mean, it's
and humidity. No, thank
bliss.
you. I'll pass.
I've been through a few of those in the Marines.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've had more than a few of parties like that, but now I'm old. I can't do that shit.
Yeah, you can keep all that down there. Florida's
I gotta have a Tums after every beer,
There you go.
Nothing wrong with that.
How about you, Sergeant Tickles? What are you going to be doing this weekend and all that stuff?
Well, this weekend, tomorrow, we're going to be working at the Renaissance Festival, and then afterwards is Sassy Saturdays, which is turned into Tired Saturdays, but nonetheless, they're still sass.
Extra sass because of tiredness.
Yeah. And then, gosh, what else am I doing? I don't even know. Sunday will be on doing something. I don't know. Star Citizen, World of Warcraft. Who knows?
One of them things. Some of that stuff.
Stuff and things.
Stuff and things. All right. I'm actually going to check out some Infinity Battlescape, I think, after the show tonight.
Ooh.
For a little bit.
What is that?
Infinity Battlescape, it was actually in Kickstarter 2015, I think. And I didn't really look at it. I believe Togar's been a big advocate about getting me to check it out. They finally have gotten to the level where I think it's getting ready to go early access on Steam, but you can still pledge to back it if you want. It's $30. It is a large-scale 100-person space battle game where you actually go. It has planets and moons and stuff, and you actually have to defeat the enemy by destroying both their ships and their infrastructure. It has capitals. Imagine like a smaller-scale Elite Dangerous, except it's mostly focused 100% on just fighting each other. You get points to purchase your ships on each side, and you play it. And I've never played it before in my life. I just downloaded it. There's only 30 bones. $30 is a selling point for me with this cool space game, but it looks amazing. I've been talking a little bit on Twitter to one of the main guys who does it over there, so gonna be checking it out. And if you guys are interested, I'd love to play it with some of their space bros and some of the other people, because it looks like something we could all dip our toes into and just have some fun with.
Is there information on it on your Discord at all, so I can just go click it? Because I'm gonna completely forget the name by tomorrow night.
I will send it out to you guys. I'll put it up there because I haven't looked at it yet, so I didn't want to give my official stamp till I actually booted it up. If it was like, you know what I mean? So I'm very sensitive about what I recommend, but I'm going to be checking it out tonight and see what I think. Yep. Cool. See, Italian Bummy back to back 27. A lot of guys back to back win. I think even Baron backed it way back when. And it was one of those games at the time. It's like, if you had to back it, it was like $50, $60, $100. They had $500 pledge packs and stuff. And I was already elbow deep into this and everything else. But now for $30 this weekend is a playtest, and I believe their expected early access is September 12th. But it's Infinity Battlescape. We'll be checking it out. So it's not persistent, though. It is like a larger match-based game. So they load all the people in there, but right now I think they're at 100, but like Togar says, they're going to try to get up to 1,000 people. They want to make it like this very massive, like Axis and Allies in space, first person, flying around, blowing shit up. And I was just
what level of immersion are we talking? We're talking like Star Citizen immersion.
No, you're talking
about for the battle part.
For the battle part, the scenes I saw, I could actually pull up a little video of it here, or we're getting more questions in. You guys can keep asking questions. From what I saw of it, it looked like you could get everywhere from a smaller like fighter/destroyer vessel all the way up to big capital ships, and you're literally flying between turrets and doing the whole Star Wars or Last Starfighter type stuff. It looked really, really neat, and the guys were communicating with each other and everything. It looked really good. It looked really good. Let me see here. Let's find a current video because I hate pulling up old stuff.
Infinity Battlescape. Okay, I'm gonna go. I don't have Steam on this computer. Shit. I gotta go to my other computer.
I think you still have to pledge right now. I think it's getting ready to be on Steam for the year, but it has a Steam page. You just can't get it there. You have to go to their site of it. It's Inova estudios.com. I'll put a link in there somewhere. Let's see here. Media. But graphically, it looks very
cool.
Yeah, those look cool. It didn't look like this in 2015. I guarantee that.
Now, when you say you can get capital ships or something, like you have a variety to choose from, or you have to like earn a capital status.
I think it's all point value based, and you can kill the enemy's points by stopping their transits, like their freighters and stuff, because it's basically like a constant supply run. The more territorial claim areas you own, the more that your points build up, right, to get new ships, to get other things. And it's an attrition game. You stop the enemy. You actually destroy their colonies, their space stations, and their land facilities until they run out of points, and then you win. Is the way I understand it. Togar would speak better about that. So there you go. Togar just sent you a PM in Tickle's Discord too.
I don't know how it's working, but it looks like the $60 version allows you access to private beta builds. So I wonder if that's what you have to get for this weekend.
No, $30 one is, because I just got
the $30 one will get you
for this weekend. Absolutely. Okay. So, and then it's supposed to go live. Not live, but early access, I believe, on the 12th. That's when it'll be available on Steam for everybody to get. But we're gonna check it out tonight, and we're gonna see it. I mean, if it's beautiful or if it's booty, we don't know. We'll see what happens.
Maybe it's bootiful.
It could be bootiful, which might be extra good.
That could be.
Could be. Yeah, I'll tell you all that. But yeah, here's some of the ships they have there. They have the interceptors all the way up to the carriers, where they don't have a lot of defenses. They're heavily reliant on the fighters and all that stuff. But yeah, these are the interceptors, like the interceptor, bomber, and corvette are the ones that you pilot first person, kind of like Elite Dangerous, like that. And I think the other ones they're talking about, it's more of a third person perspective on the larger cats, where you have the destroyer, cruiser, and carrier, where they destroy the captains. It's kind of seems similar as far as the balanced combat aspect to like some of the Dreadnought games, but it's like on a full like EVE Online, Elite Dangerous type scale.
Right.
So, but yeah, but I won't have a lot of detail to actually play it. So, yeah, they do. The ships look familiar, but that welcome to every game ever made with spaceships.
God, that looks like a shit show with all those ships over there firing at each other.
Oh, that right there is what got me kind of excited about
Part of the fun, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Flying between all that. Everybody wants that beautiful Star Wars aspect. Here we go. Let's see this one.
I mean, it looks pretty fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I liked it.
And I don't know if it's really shallow, if you get the same satisfaction. Obviously, not on the scale of like a Star Citizen or any of those things. But if you want some cool space battles, it looks like it'll fulfill that need pretty heavily. I'm excited about it.
Looks good.
I just wonder, I guess most of those point defense turns have to be somewhat automated on the carriers if it's one person driving it, right?
Well, yeah.
I would think so. It's not like you're going to be...
Oh, boy. I thought it was going to crash.
Unless it's,
right?
Unless they did it where you target somebody and then they all fire that way.
It's a single star system, but it's big. Well, I think everybody here is familiar with that type of thing. Single space system, but it's big. I think we'll be all right with that. But yeah, it looks like a beautiful, wonderful space chaos. So, anyway, I digress.
It looks cool. I'm not gonna lie. It looks pretty fucking cool.
I think and the fact is it's multiplayer and you can kind of work together. And if you get on comms and stuff, I don't think it's right here on this scene, but a lot of the comms you'll hear them talking to each other, talking about primarying targets and taking stuff out. And so, yeah, I'll be into it.
There's a lot of upcoming space games that look pretty good.
Tons. Lots of good stuff coming. And there's a lot
in
Kickstarter right now.
I feel like Star Citizen happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Star Citizen came in and it was such a huge Kickstarter, thing.
Yeah.
And then everyone else was like, wow, people kind of fucking want space games.
Yep. Well, and it's not, I think it's a perfect scenario where it's not only Star Citizen, but that's a huge thing. On the gaming front, you had Star Citizen, you had Elite Dangerous, you had all these other things coming out. Star Wars franchise rebooting over the last several years, right? So
unfortunately under EA.
But still, yeah. So you had all that stuff. And then you had the movies, right? Not only like Star Wars movies, but other space movies.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Tons and tons coming out. Everything from obviously Star Wars over to The Expanse to all these really cool just coming from every direction. And then now you have Disney going all in on it, right? With all the things space too.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the Mandalorian trailer?
Oh,
I've seen the Mandalorian trailer, and I will raise you Ewan McGregor signing on as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I know! It's so good. I'm like so excited. We are in a space entertainment renaissance right now.
We really are, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, you have never had more access to different forms of entertainment about space than right now. And even in real life, right? We have SpaceX with all their rockets, all their stuff, with Elon Musk.
Sure. That like 1950s-esque, whatever fucking lander that thing was.
Yep.
That was so cool.
Yep. It's amazing, dude. They have so much cool space stuff going on in the world today. It's like we're actually very blessed to be in this like renaissance of like just everybody wanting to dive into space stuff. So I'm super excited about where we are. All right. I won't drag this
Flying water tower. Yeah, pretty much is what it very much reminded me of like a 1950s sci-fi, what you would see landing.
Yeah.
I thought it looked super cool.
Sure.
Well,
And the technology behind it is fucking mind blowing.
It makes sense because, you know, it's like if you think about everything SpaceX has done, they've taken older tech per se and adapted to a modern use because they're like, this was a more efficient than all the garbage everybody's trying to do and like trying to make some other advancement on spacecraft. Like Elon Musk just took rockets and like basically said, hey, these rockets were fine. We should be using them. They're more efficient than everything else, and just improved on it. So there you go. All right. So we have our first question tonight from Joe's Got More. Says, how long after Squadron 42 release do you think SC can be released given its focus will be 100% on it?
No.
So you're saying no focus on the PU, 100% on Squadron 42?
I was saying how long do you think after the Squadron 42 is released do you think that SC will come along because now they'll be focused 100% on the PU? Which,
they won't be.
Yeah, they won't be.
Kato's right.
They're still going to have other people doing Squadron 42 stuff for more chapters.
Yes, for sure.
I don't see a way.
The developments are tied together, but they've got different teams working on different things. So I don't think there's like that strong correlation that once they finish 42, that you suddenly gain all these developers that can do stuff related to the PU.
Well,
but they'll put. This is the thing, though. Right now, the entire company is focused on Squadron 42. Once the first Squadron 42 is out, it'll switch back. They'll keep some developers on the next chapter, whatever, but they'll put, a good majority of the company back on the PU for a while. Because like I said, they need to keep the focus on the persisting universe after people are done with Squad 42, which means they have to get a bunch of shit out for the persisting universe.
Yeah. But I also, do you guys see any way that Star Citizen, the MMO, the PU proper does not go to a soft launch? Like, it's going to be a soft launch game. There's no way it's going to be like, this is the release. It's going to be like,
has to be.
It's going to be an evolution of what we have right now is all it's going to be. And it's just going to be like, hey, and then this day we'll have a reboot and it'll be live. But you're going to inch your way to that hill. You're not going to be like, oh, here's the build. It's this way.
And I think we've said this on, what is it? Every at least once
ever?
A month. At least. Yeah, it's going to be a soft launch. It's going to be like one day we're like, oh, next quarter we're going to be live.
I mean,
that's all there is to it.
If you got Chris Roberts in a room, in his mind, he almost feels like a soft launch right now. That's the way he feels.
Yeah.
He feels like it's a soft launch, but it just needs more content. Like, obviously it needs more content, but they
persistence.
They treat the game and they want to.
This goes back to the Pillars thing last year.
He treats it like it's a live game. Even though from us as a gamer perspective, it doesn't have all the content that would justify that. That's the way he treats it. That's the way he wants to iterate on it. And that's what he wants to get to where everybody else sees that he sees it's live. Because whenever you bring up a problem or something you want in the game, just like with all the, even back to Star Marine Tickles, like Star Marine was like, people were like, well, we want Star Marine. And they had basically almost canceled it. And he's like, well, you don't need it because you have guns inside the PU. You remember that? Like he said, you don't need Star Marine because you could just go in there and fight in Korea. I'm like, yeah, we've been doing that, but that seems like a lot of work to die one time, and come back. But, so perception's a lot different between the development team, between Chris Roberts, and between us. So
I hate his idea of the soft launch because it just flies into, face of traditional launches, which I mean, we go from an alpha, which they call it now, to a beta, which is supposed to be, feature complete. And we don't, and there's so many game mechanics that need to be done before they can call it, even close to call it a beta.
The problem is not only, but the things that we love Chris for and CIG for throwing it in the face of tradition, right? To make this beautiful game.
You dislike on the same notes.
Yeah, we dislike in the same notes. So it's like there's things we're gonna love, things we're gonna hate.
And I agree with Toy and I disagree with Toy.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it has to be a soft launch. Look at just again World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft released with the feature set it had, but it's ever evolving. It always has new content coming out. It's never done. It's never complete. So
I totally
agree. World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Or a World.
It'll definitely be a soft launch.
And I feel like a lot of it's semantics because the terms have changed, but game development's not that different than it was. It's like how you source the income changed a lot with Star Citizen and Kickstarters, but you still go through these rounds. The difference is the transparency that you give your audience for the most part.
I disagree, Togar. No, look, I'm not talking about expansions. I'm talking about, look, when Classic launched, it didn't have Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds came online later, right? Before BC came out.
Yeah,
and it didn't
was
have
an expansion.
It didn't have like certain dungeons. Tier 4 stuff in BC came out, and then Tier 5 stuff later. I mean,
there's a distinction to be made there between content complete and feature complete. Content complete doesn't exist. That's never a thing, right? There's always going to be more content added. Feature complete to me is like all the mechanics are in, medical's in, fighting's in, repairs in.
But you said a key words in
my
there.
idea of feature complete.
That's your
I
idea.
think it will have to be
complete.
feature complete before we get a soft launch.
Sure.
It will be,
Absolutely.
but at the same time, until they draw a line in the sand on what they determine as feature complete, which I feel like Chris kind of made an attempt to do that with the pillar conversation, right?
Yeah.
Even though I don't agree with his perspective on it, but the features are different to all of us that we would justify as what this game's ready to go live, right? Like, to most of us, we want the professions in, we want cargo running in, we want certain ships in, we want certain portions of space available. But to somebody else, they might not care about half the ships we do or any of that. Somebody else might just want, hey, I want 3 star systems and I'm good to go. It depends.
I think there's just about, and I say this just about because we need a few things, like we need the hull, at least a hull ship for cargo.
Yes.
We need a medical ship, even if it's just like an Apollo. I don't count the Cutlass Red. That's too small.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just got our first medical ship, the 890 Jump.
Yeah. No, I mean, true.
It's our first medical ship that's in the PU flyable.
If we can just get to actually medical
we need one of each profession at least, right? Mm-hmm. We have the mining ship. Mm-hmm. We have to be able to do each profession.
All the things.
Other than those ships, I feel like we have enough ships right now that we could launch with. We could call it a soft launch with these ships, plus those profession ships. But we see with the ships coming out, we're like, yes, we all want our ships. I get it.
Yep.
There's still ships that I own that aren't out yet. And are they necessary 100% to the game launching? No.
I think
890 Jump, was it necessary to the game launching? No.
But I do feel like you need some sort of carrier, even if it's NPC based, because the way they want you to travel, by being able to land on something and travel somewhere else, they need that in there. Even if it's not player controlled, they'd have to have some of those aspects in to implement.
Well, and like I said, there's certain ships that we need for quote soft launch.
Yep.
You have to be able to do at least each profession, you know, and I would say at a reasonable price.
Yep.
All right.
So maybe not the top launches.
Kickstarter. The Kickstarter, he made promises at launch. There would be this many systems,
yes,
you know, or whatever.
I know,
mechanic.
But shit changes too. Like we said, you know, they have to adjust things and all that. And there was a point after the Kickstarter that they came in and said, "Hey, shit's got to change if we want to do this. Change the scope of what we're doing." And most of the community agreed with that. And that's where all the drama started, with the half the people thinking it's a scam and the other half people that because they changed the scope of what they were doing. And so you either love it or hate it. That's, you know, we basically wrote the check for them to be kind of, hey man, take it where you want, because we want this amazing space game. And we're along for the ride now. And that's where you're at.
And again, I'm down for it. Whatever. At the end of the day, they're gonna make whatever they make.
Yeah. And I'll love it. But at the same time, there's plenty of stuff I can play to entertain myself till then. You know, I was like, that's my whole thing with CIG. People get so hung up on this is all there is, and then that's what causes a lot of frustration too. I feel like when you're 24/7, nose down in there, every aspect of it, if it doesn't go the way you want it to, that's where people get really salty and they lose their shit about it. And I'm like, hop in a different game, man. Like I said, we're in a space entertainment renaissance. Go watch Expanse for a few episodes, chill out, you know, get some ideas, come back. So,
well, I mean, until they get, I mean, I'm not even considering anything until they get the core engine done of Star Citizen. You know, we shouldn't even be having this conversation.
Well,
and that's still a few years off now. So
yeah, but they'll never be done, especially if people like you toy. Oh, we want voxel planets too on top of it. It's like they're still working on it.
Throw it in.
Yep, there you go.
Get that bloat.
The new plutonium core engine that they come out with, so that way it can run all it. Next question, Joe from Joe's again says, "What is needed to get the hype back for Star Citizen?" What do you guys think?
Did it fade? Did it go away?
Yeah, what hype?
Did I miss that?
Well, it's fair to say the core, and most of the people in this room and watching the show and that hang out in all our channels are loyalists. Let's be honest. They're loyalists to the project.
Yes.
We love it. Hell or high water, you know, we're going to be around. We might play our stuff, might go away. We'll come back, whatever. We love Star Citizen. That's how it is. I assume by hype, you mean bringing in the droves of thousands of people watching the streams and see what's going on and stuff.
My answer is very simple. And chat kind of already nailed it. During and after every single CitizenCon is when the hype will be the highest. Unless something releases like a Squadron 42 or, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or during and after
every
CitizenCon
is when the hype will be the absolute highest for Star Citizen.
It has to be
all there is to it.
Yeah, it has to be CitizenCon. It has to be a feature that's really playable. I think as we get persistence online, you'll see a huge amount of hype. Every element of persistence.
Anytime we get a big, huge gameplay feature in the persisting universe, it brings back a ton of people.
Yeah,
but yeah, absolutely right. CitizenCon, Squadron 42, of course, next year, and any kind of big gameplay feature they put in will bring people back.
Yep. But until then, they're going to play other stuff, and that's fine.
Yep.
There you go. Let's see. Are avocado leaks good or bad for CIG?
My opinion on it as someone who's non-avocado.
I'm not.
I don't see how it's bad.
I think they're horrible.
I think it depends what you do. I mean, if you're leaking nothing but like every bug and every flaw to make the game look bad, you can make it look bad that way.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
If you're trying to drop, hey, I want to be the other person in there and show you something that to be the first, I want to show you this cool screen on Reddit, then, I mean, you're building up some hype for the game, I guess, you know, whatever.
This is the thing.
Go ahead.
All the leaks are used negatively. They're not used positively. They're used negatively. Look, it's all buggy. It's bad. It's horrible. You know, you never hear of, look at the shit they're put in. It's, but they're going to be working on it. You know what I mean? It's always used negatively.
I guess I'm having a different experience than you.
Yeah, same.
Negatively.
I've seen a lot of positive leaks, like, oh, hey, look what's in.
Yeah, it's and on Reddit, and
only heard negative.
Yeah, no, I see a lot more positive lately than I ever do negative. But I will say this: if you agree to do something for any company and you're under NDA, I would highly, highly recommend you not breaking that. Just because,
right? I'm not encouraging people.
No, and I know nobody here is encouraging. I just want to go ahead and say it because it's your word. And if you're not as good as your word, then I mean, what's the point? And
it's also kind of on a legally binding document.
It is, and
you physically signed. For those who don't know, if to get out, I had an avocado invite. They know shit. You gotta take the paper, print it out, sign it with ink, mail it in. Mm-hmm. Like that's not a digital signature. It is your shit signature.
And while you might never get dinged for doing leaking something, all that stuff, the main thing that you find when you sign these things is if you did accidentally do something detrimental to the company or you did anything, you would be legally liable for that. But it's,
they can come after you.
But it's also an aspect of, just your word, man. I don't know. I was raised that you're only as good as your word. If you promise something,
I feel the same way, but
that's it.
The society nowadays is not that way.
Well, and that's up to them. Mm-mm. All I'm saying is that's the way I want to live. And same thing I tell my son. If he tells me his buddy did this or his buddy did that, I said, I don't care what they do. I care about what you do, and I got to care about what I do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like people make their own decisions about stuff, but I rather be accountable to myself. It's not about if I get caught. It's about how I feel about what I do each day. So, and that's the whole thing.
The problem with these leaks is it's too easy because of the way it's set up. So what happens is you go in a game, you find a bug, you record it, you have to put it on the issue council. That gives everybody else that's in Evocati access to that information. Yeah. So, you know, they can't use like what traditional game beta and alpha testers do is they'll put like, you know, numbers on your back screen so they know which person, you know, is actually filming that. You can't do that with our current Evocati because you can get, you know, anybody that's in Evocati can see everybody else's bug reports and copy that and put it up.
That's also because there's no ID codes on the client you're playing. You're part of the same Access Evocati client. Whereas I've played other games in alpha and they send you a build of the game and your build is ID'd. You know what I mean? And you're right. They do a blind share. They don't do a communal share like what they do in this issue council. In our issue council, they want us to relate to identify bugs and say, hey, all of you are having this problem, so it gets upvoted. And by doing that, they inherently have to share that info. Other games I've played where it's an alpha, you do your build, you send your information directly back to the developer, and that's it. You aren't sitting there talking to Joe about the build, except maybe in a Discord or a forum chat. You're not sitting there in a council voting and doing all that stuff. It's a little bit different. So, yeah, I agree. It can be good or bad, but at the same time, I don't think CIG does it with the intention of, hey, I want to put this out there so they leak this when it's Evocati stuff. I just don't feel like they do that. There's other ways they could leak it to hype it up. Then do it that way. That is not like a good marketing strategy to do.
I feel like we know for a fact they don't do that because was the ballista in Evocati?
Yeah, if they don't want it out there, they won't give it to them. That's just how it is. They know.
Yeah, they know. They know leaks are coming.
Yep.
What gets me is when the leaks happen before the patch notes thing. The patch notes were leaked before they were even given to Evocati.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing with these guys. I mean, they're smarter than I am. They take the damn clients as soon as there's any kind of update or whatever. They're able to take the client and put it in
the data.
Mine the data out of it, absolutely, to see all this, what chip was put in it, and they're able to find out all that shit.
And that's how they catch some of the ships that nobody's heard about, right? They'll say, well, there's an image of this in the client. It's just like, what is this, you know?
That's how we knew about the ballista before it came out.
Yep.
Is there was a rumor of like, oh, this code is in the game. We don't know when it's coming out. We don't know what has to do with it, but we know that something of this sort.
We know a name, yeah.
All right, next question. From Guns and Glue says, when will the forbidden explosive pancakes be available for the ground grunts to eat now that the spacers have theirs?
I don't know what's happening.
I think he's just drunk.
No idea.
No, I missed the context.
Explosive pancakes.
Yeah.
Is that like with a pancakes with a diuretic in it? Like
I don't know.
Landmines. So you mean like actual landmines?
Like when the ship will be released out in the game type of thing?
No, like landmines.
You step on it, it blows your
FPS.
Like
bouncing Bettys, you know, and pressure mines and all those things. I don't know. That's a good question.
Speaking of the Nautilus,
make a line main truck. I'll have to do a truck for that first. Be a vehicle attached to it.
So, and the ballista too. I want to just back up here for just a second and talk about the Nautilus. They, the way some of these guys are doing these ships, from what I saw at the event or whatever, that ship is like done. And if you looked at the videos with it, you know, walking through the inside of it, that ship is like 99% done. You know, a lot of these ships, some of these ships they do like directly into the game, like they did with the ballista or whatever. That Nautilus looks done to me.
Yeah,
they could put that thing in the game right now, and it looks done.
But it's true. The 890 looked done for a long time too, and they just made it better and better and better and better.
Oh,
and better.
sure.
So, yeah. So we'll see.
I just hate the name the Nautilus. All I can think of is that workout equipment from like the late 90s. That's all I can
Everybody
fucking think
expected.
of.
Wow.
Fucking treadmills and like
Hey,
that's.
I got a Nordic track downstairs.
Oh God.
You lay landmines with it.
Hey, I mean, you go hike a couple miles, you'll lay some landmines.
You lay some landmines.
You
Yeah, for
will,
sure.
absolutely, brother.
Yeah, everybody expected it like a submarine ship or something under the water because we have ocean planets.
Well, I could see
and
something.
eventually we're going to have to get an underwater ship of some type.
Or they'll make ships that can go underwater or something like that. It'll be like a amphibious space vehicle or something of that nature.
Yeah, I think that it might be coming for CitizenCon too.
Yep. We'll see.
It's a very
Well, we got swimming coming up, so.
Yeah.
Did that get moved from the roadmap? Do we know?
I don't know. I didn't look at that.
I saw it.
That was coming up. It was.
Yeah. Was. Maybe. I don't know.
You have a Nautilus bike in your gym room. See?
There you go.
That's all I can think about is that old workout equipment, dude.
I don't know. I think a Nautilus would have been a better name for like some sort of exploratory vehicle or something like that. Something that's because it seems something that would go out in space by itself and figure something out. Or sounds like a good name for a drone too. Gin and Tonic says mines target hostile targets. How do you think hostiles will be determined or set?
We need some sort of IFF right now.
Yep.
And we don't have it, so.
And we wish we did, but I also wish they had standings for organizations and corporations where you can set friend or foe on just a political standing aspect.
I actually have a different outlook on that. I think all mines should be hostile to anything that touches them, but we should be able to transmit that data back and forth to avoid mines if we're friendly with each other.
So you want them just
That's
out there,
how I
friend
would
or
rather
foe,
see it.
like no go. That's it.
So then you can't lay mines around your own stuff, which is kind of the whole point of it.
You could, but it'd be a glorious.
You could, but you would be the one with the map of how to get in and out without hitting them.
Or maybe you have an ID code.
That could be data you can transfer.
I want an ID code so I can get through the minefield.
I don't know. They talked about how you'd be able to set the mines for factions, friendlies, friends, everything.
Yep.
I kind of envisioned it being just it's a mine. You get close, it goes boom.
Maybe that'd be a good option. I'd like that too. Like you could set for
that
friends.
Would be cool though.
Or you can just put them out there and they're hot. It's up to you.
So basically,
mines
you
can
have
handle
dumb mines and smart mines.
There you go. I like it. So options. Oh, those mines can, they can move. They chase you down. I imagine, how fast do you think the mines will move?
Not fast.
You think
these things are made to fight big ships,
I don't know, man.
they're not going to
90 could take off pretty fucking quick.
Yeah, I think they'll move as fast as torpedo. I think that way that way a small ship could just burn away from them quickly, and I think a large ship's like good luck. If you're going to maneuver here, you ain't getting past the mines. And maybe they move faster towards large targets. May it be the same thing like you locking things. They'll lock them faster on larger ships and yada yada yada. I imagine it'd work that way. Gamers Cafe says, "What's your thoughts on PvP mining, mission sharing being added to the roadmap, and on 3.7? What are you looking forward to most?" Who wants to kick that one off?
I like the personal inventory, and the cave system is a big surprise. I also dislike the personal inventory because I won't be able to hold like 17 different guns and 47 magazines. So it's a blessing and a curse. I think it's going to provide that realism we've all been waiting for and both dreading. So. But it's something we'll get used to, just like everything else.
Drones, how about you? What were you looking forward to in that? And then other questions.
I'll be honest with you. I haven't gone through the roadmap with a fine-tooth comb, but I don't know. The persistent inventory is going to be something I've always been looking forward to. More persistence in the universe that's what we want, right? Like,
absolutely.
Give us that.
Absolutely. I think the mission sharing and PvP mining is going to be pretty badass too. But But yeah, in 3.7
mission sharing, forgot about that. Yes,
yeah, that's huge. It's huge. Anything that lets us play together, lets us get in groups and do stuff with each other in the game is amazing.
That's not just lets us, but motivates us to want to,
and also
like gives us reason to come together.
Yeah, and facilitates it in a way that's not like we have to craft our own ability to do this thing and make stuff up. There are game systems that actually allow us to do it.
Well, not only that, though, mission sharing was always like, well, we got some stuff to work on. Well, we got some stuff to work on. Then suddenly the roadmap changes and it's in polishing. The fuck? Where did it shit out of? Like, what happened? How did we go from literally a couple weeks ago when we were talking to good old Blue Eyes Pappy?
Yep.
That, like, we're like, we got some stuff to work through, and all of a sudden now here, surprise, it's polishing.
Yeah, I think so. Toy, how about you, buddy?
I'm looking forward to the new cave system. The evolution that they've made in just the past couple of months from the, when we first saw the cave system video to where, we were watching the Inside Star Citizen, where we could look over his shoulder and see what it looked like on the guy's screen working on it, was like a 9-day difference. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think my status for 3.7 would go personalized inventory. It's been huge because not only for what it means for you as a character, but what it means for the overall gameplay. Because it means there's so many things. If you have personalized inventories, you can loot each other, you can drop weapons now, you can keep stuff, and what you fit out matters. You don't have the option to change on the fly. But close second to that is actually going to be ship rentals. Because I got ship rentals in 3.7, because I think that's going to be huge. You want to talk about the ability to bring a little hype back to the game, giving people the ability to try out some ships without having to drop hundreds of dollars to be able to get in there, or ask one of us to share it to them, will probably bring some people into the game as long as the game's running pretty well. You could pay $45 and get in there and, possibly have some fun with some ships and earn your way to get them. It really depends on how many wipes they have, though, when it goes live. If we're doing lots and lots of wipes every couple weeks, that's going to be probably a little detrimental to the ship rental program meaning anything. But if it's like, you wipe a lot in PTU, but if you can go like a month or two without wiping in the live version of the PU, I think that could actually end up translating into something meaningful where people actually be like, look at the fleet I built from grinding in game. I could see it.
And we get the Banu Defender.
Whoopsie-doo.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to that ship for a long time. I love alien ships.
And they're cool ships.
Everybody,
but it's like any ship we
have. Did you have a rant about it last week, though? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Who?
You did.
You.
Last time you were on the show.
What about
it? The interior is so organic looking.
Oh, it does look a lot different than I expected.
Yeah.
I'm still looking forward to it.
I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
I want to see what it looks like. I really do.
All right, we're gonna rapid fire through some of these questions because I promised Tickles we'd get them in bed at a good hour, and it is getting late. Yep. All right. Let's see. This is from Gin and Tonic. Is the Pioneer and base building in or out of MVP for feature complete launch? Do you think that's something they're going to throw in there?
Oh, it'll be in for launch.
I don't know.
I think it should be. I don't know if Chris thinks that's a necessity.
All I'm going to say is Gin and Tonic is obsessed with the Pioneer. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's a badass ship, and if you forked up the money for it, I can see why. So, keep hope alive, man.
I get it. I loved my 890 jump, and I held the faith.
I want it all in before it goes like to any type of like real feature complete kind of thing. All the ships that they've done so far, all the major gameplay aspects, I want in, and I'm willing to wait for it. I don't know that Chris Roberts is willing to wait for it. I'll just put that way.
I don't think so either. No, I think he's going to feature complete it.
Yeah.
Before we all think it's feature complete.
100% agree with that. After last year, I really feel like he feels the pressure to like feature complete this as soon as he thinks it's a minimum viable product. That's what I think.
And that's what we don't want. We don't want a minimum viable product.
No, we don't.
We want the maximum viable product.
And I really hope I'm wrong, but that's why I went away from Last CitizenCon after the pillar thing. That's the way I felt. So, and I still feel that way. Joe's got more. Ask, what if Squadron 42 is leaked before release? Well, I mean, the script's already out there. So, I mean, the story is technically out there. I've done my damnedest to avoid it entirely. But it's going to be leaked in some format, and I think they're still planning on beta testing it with part of the community. So, I think the object of it getting leaked in some format is 100%. It'll get leaked. At least not maybe the whole playable game, but definitely like all the deets about it.
We know what the story is for it. I mean, the vertical slice pretty much lays out. Yeah.
So you're going to get leaks. I mean, is it going to make it less enjoyable or playable for me? I don't think so. So I think we'll be good. Joe's decided to smatter a bunch of questions on here real quick, so we'll go with these, and then that's it. So no more questions after these last ones. Joe asked about Gio got money. He misses that guy. Has anybody heard from him? I actually tweet back and forth with him regularly. I talked to him.
I was going to say, I see him on Twitter.
I was about to say, he's on Twitter.
Get on Twitter.
Time,
you want to hear about Gio? That's where he's at, baby.
I see him tweeting, but not streaming.
Nah, but to be fair, Gio liked to come on the shows. He never really super got into like, you know, the whole streaming thing heavily. Next question from Joe's as well. What mechanics do you look forward to the most playing with? Salvage, repair, medical, hacking, etc. What mechanic do you think right now for today in this day and age? Where are you looking forward to the most mechanic wise?
Medical. That's what I've been after.
I kind of knew that was coming.
Yeah, I mean,
like everybody's heard me say that a billion times.
The doctor chooses medical. Figured that one out. How about you, Tickles? What are you looking forward to?
You know me, man. I'm cargo and exploration.
Hauling. Boop, boop.
Space trucking is where it's at. I love it,
baby. Toy?
I have my baby reclaimer that I love, so salvaging is definitely number one. Although I know we're not going to get the full boat of salvaging, so
it's still gonna be cool though.
Yeah.
It's still gonna be pretty cool.
I mean, remember the old videos of them peeling the skin off of ships?
Yeah.
You know, going out and doing that is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I look forward to all of them, man. To be honest, I mean, really, just the main game mechanics I'm looking forward to is organizational mechanics, as far as like corporations working together, squads, and eventually leading to entire
world domination.
Is what I'm looking for.
That sounds right.
Yeah, so that'll work for all means necessary.
Did you catch in the Pillar Talk today that they mentioned that they're, you know, behind the scenes still working on org stuff?
Yep.
So expect an org update before too long.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, I sure hope so.
I wish they did a whole episode on orgs and how they plan to implement, how they're going to interact. I would love CIG. I would love you to do an entire 1 hour special on how we're going to play together, how we're going to team up, and how all those standings, factions, orgs, all that's going to work. Companies, sub-companies, subsidiaries, contracts. I would love to know more information and call the whole thing, Disco, how we're going to play together. And that's all. That could be all about that. Because I feel like that's a huge piece, not necessarily missing, but it doesn't get addressed often enough. You got to get people excited in an MMO to play with each other. I feel like that's the one thing that you want to talk about bringing hype back. You get people actually that can work together and do those things and get rallied behind each other. I think a lot of the hype died down as we've gone away from playing together, and a lot of that is because the mechanics haven't facilitated us having over 50 player cap, right? A lot of the mechanics haven't allowed us to get bigger than we are in game. But I don't feel like it should stop the conversation about it. So maybe they're doing a lot of that because they don't know how many people actually be able to play together, and they don't want to piss Test Alliance off or Test Squadron. They're like, sorry guys, you're only going to be able to have 100 of you in the zone.
Right there.
Well, of course, they break the system now. Are you worried about getting too much automation in Star Citizen like sentry mines? This could lead to personal auto turns on the ground too. I think you're definitely going to have that on the ground.
I want that on the ground.
I think all of us do. I don't, unless you want your job to be, hey, drones, could you sit here for the next 12 hours on a gun and stare up in the sky?
Well, I mean, we've
done it in Eve, Mitt.
Well, I know, right?
Okay, well, let's call an NPC personal automation or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to put an NPC in this, and I hired the best goddamn gunner in the whole solar system.
Well, and
he's going to sit on this gun. And he's going to shoot your ass down.
Yeah, I get what Joe's saying though, because they are adding AI blades and all stuff. And yeah, I don't want it to be fully automated, but I'm okay with automation as long as there is a player requirement. Like on certain ships, you have to have so many physical people doing something, or AI, some sort of, you know, autonomous thing that just does it automatically. I don't want that all throughout the game. I'm okay with AI doing it as long as they're not perfect. You know, like you can fly your ship and have an AI crew, but they can't be like, hey, I am the robot machine that never misses. I repair everything perfectly. You know, I want players to be able to do jobs better than the computer can. So.
And I'm okay with the auto turrets, but I do think there needs to be a way to counter those type of things. So whether that's an EMP grenade or some type of, you know, you get your ship close enough, fire an EMP, and then you land and get out, and then you walk over and turn the auto turret off. Something like that. There should. I'm okay with automation to an extreme as long as there's a counter to that automation, some kind of hacking, some kind of EMP, something.
Have to give
us ways to fight it.
Yeah, players have to have the ability. Good player, a really good player should be able to be better than a really good auto turn.
I agree.
Yeah.
As long as they can.
They
find
also
that
said there's going to be upkeep on all this stuff too. Like
Absolutely.
the mines themselves are, you know, powered, so it's not going to last forever either. Yep. And I'm sure that's going to, you know, go across everything. The NPC is just not going to sit there for weeks and weeks and weeks. He's going to need to be fed and upkept and, you know, whatever else too.
And all the automated things are going to have to be powered, and they're going to have to be repaired. Like, just like we said with the beacons way back when, right? If they put beacons out there, you have to keep them fueled and stuff or they expire. All those things are going to have to be there. They need to be solid enough to where I can't just like trick them and they're useless. But they need to be not so good that it's like I have absolutely no use to having our player ever. So that's a huge thing for me. But yeah. Let's see. Joe's final question here is, will we get casinos and gambling on some planets? And
I doubt it.
I'm worried about that.
I don't think they can because you can purchase UEC, so it could be considered real money gambling.
If it was a single
that's
player
why that
game,
becomes a really gray area.
If it was a single player game, and you had like an isolated universe where you didn't purchase currency or anything else in it, you could do that. But the minute you're able to actually purchase currency, you cannot do that. It won't allow it because it just doesn't allow it in the game. Yeah.
Maybe they'll have some kind of sub currency that you can't buy that you can use for gambling. I don't know. I wish they would, because I love, you know, that aspect.
But it
it's a real gray area.
Yeah. You can't do it if it can be traded in any way, shape, or form or exchanged for money. So like, even if you made a secondary currency base, if you could buy guns with those and you could also buy guns with UEC, it would be illegal. That's the problem. It'd have to be for something that you could only buy within that currency, which makes it kind of devalued in many ways. Like, oh, well, it doesn't matter, you know? So I wish, but that's where we're at with it. All right. Well, that is all our questions. I was going to wrap it up, but Tickles isn't here. I guess we could wrap it up without him. So,
good night. Bye-bye.
See you later.
He already went to bed.
We'll just keep talking like we're still on the air, and he'll be like, what? There's no chat going.
Hey, we're 11 minutes over his time. He's done.
Yeah, he's over. He's out. He's like, peace. Gone, baby. So, but yeah. So we'll get this thing wrapped up and do that stuff. So yeah, I was like, well, Tickles is back. I was like, I'm gonna wrap it up, but we gotta wait for him to come back so that way we can make him go to bed. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and call it, guys. It was a great show. Thank you so much, guys, for all being here. Drones, thank you for risking your life and all that stuff, you know, because
yeah, he didn't evacuate because of you.
The imminent hurricane that was going to destroy.
I had total evacuation plans, but I'm here.
The bunkers, the bunkers right there. It's ready. So he's good.
Yeah,
it's all good.
It's good to go. All the MREs are waiting.
Absolutely. No, guys, but hang out and stay tuned if you want to see Infinity Battlescape. I'm going to jump in it and check it out for a little bit. You're welcome to hang out, ask questions, and I won't be able to answer them because I know nothing about the game other than I just paid $30 and I push buttons. But we can see if it's cool together.
But you can still ask.
Yeah, and maybe some of these guys will join me over the weekend, and we'll see if we can play some, or next week or something. If it's any good, we'll see where we're going at. But again, thank you guys. Guys, make sure to follow all these fine gentlemen. I don't have all their guest tags up because I didn't get all the emotes and icons and lower thirds done. But we'll have them for next week. I promise. We'll get it done. So until next week, guys, we'll see you later. Thank you for watching us on the Space Bro
Bye-bye.
Show. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. We love your faces.
While my camera lasts.
Your camera won't last at all. It's gone. It's toast.